Good morning, grade fives. Happy Tuesday. So as you remember, yesterday we started graphing. We started our review because I wasn't really, I was teaching you, but it was a big review from grade four. Hopefully you remembered single bar graphs. If you remember, I'll just quickly turn to it so you can have a review. We looked at single bar graphs. We looked at how to take information that was collected, whether it was collected by you or someone else, but take information and then put into a graph using all 5 parts, right? In this case, we had 4. But today, with our double bar graphs, we're actually going to use all 5 parts. For a double bar graph, you need legend. So finally, we get to use the 5th element of a graph. So all you need today is your notebook, pencil, a highlighter, and then a ruler. I would suggest 2 and pencil crayons if you want to color in your bars. So let's start with the date. So get that written down, please. Your title is double bar graphs. Let me add. And then we can, again, do the same thing as yesterday. Get some information and then graph it. So let's do I can statement. So I can, I can construct. So yesterday you were constructing a single bar graph. Now today you're going to, I can construct a double bar graph using all 5 parts of a graph. Okay, very similar. And if you understand single bar graphs, double bar graphs are very, very similar, but the only difference is that they have two different information going on. And I'll explain as I go, obviously, but it's not too difficult. I think most of you will enjoy it. But you just have to do, as long as you go step by step, it's not that hard. So double bar graphs, I can construct a double bar graph using all 5 parts of a graph. Now, yesterday, and we're going to use the same chart that we had from yesterday, but I'm just going to add to it the second element. So let's do that. So let me draw. What I had. So what did I have? I had favorite. So this part is going to be very similar. Favorite sport. Say favorite sport. Let's keep it very, very similar so that you can see the difference. So I'll say favorite sport, and then I'll list the sports here. So swimming. We had football, or soccer for me, badminton, and hockey. So that is still the same. Nothing has changed. It's still looking at the same sports. Okay, so I've got the same sports. Nothing different there as of yet. Then I'm not going to put the tallies. I'm just going to keep the totals just because the tallies are only needed when you're doing the survey. I just did it yesterday to show you. Now I'm going to have grade 11, which is what we had yesterday, right? We had a grade 11 information, so I'm going to write that down as my total. Grade 11, which was yesterday was I think 4, it was 12, 6, and 3. So far this is the same information from yesterday, except I've just taken out the tallies, right? If I look at this graph, it's literally the same, but I've just taken out the tallies because really I only need the tallies when I'm doing this survey, when I'm going around asking questions, but I'm done that. So I don't need that right now. But everything else is the same. The students' numbers are the same. The sports are the same. But this time, let's say Miss Mavish, I got curious. I want to compare the favorite sports of grade 11 students with the favorite sports of grade 12 students. That's the difference now, that there are 2 different categories, you can say, or 2 different elements you're comparing. And that's what it is. The purpose of a double bar graph is to be able to compare 2 different elements, whatever it is. In this case, it happens to be 2 different grades. It could be 2 different countries. It could be 2 different schools, whatever it is. So in this example, I want to compare the favorite sports of grade 11 students and then grade 12 students. And maybe let's say for grade 12, maybe it was 8 students like swimming, 9 students like football, 2 students like badminton, and then maybe 6 students like hockey. Okay? So that's my new addition. but then everything else is still going to be the same. Now, let's go again through all the 5 elements. Element number 1, what is first? First comes the title. Now, let's review our title, and I'll keep this over here so I'll keep flipping back and forth. My title from yesterday was Favorite Sports in Grade 11. So far, I can write down favorite sports in grade 11, but it's not just grade 11 anymore now. So what does my title need to be? It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be favorite sports in grade 11 and grade 12, right? We just have to add to it because now this was just grade 11. Today it's grade 11 and grade 12. So I'm going to write that as my title. Favorite sport in grade 11 and 12. Please, that's very important, right? It's not just grade 11 anymore. It's now there's 2 different classes, which is the point. You're comparing two different parts. Okay, next, I'm done my title. Now let's go to my X and Y axes. Same as yesterday. I'm going to leave a little bit of space so I can write, and I'm going to draw my line here, maybe stop there, and then draw my line across. So do you remember which axis is which? So which one is the X axis? This is what? X or Y? This is Y. Think of it like this, like a big Y. You're drawing the line of a Y, and this is X axis. Okay, now let's label it. And again, you don't have to look at it, but you can think about it. What are my 2 parts of this graph? I have the sports, but these, yeah, we have 2 different grades, but they're still what? These numbers are still number of students, and this is also number of students. So this section, which was, and I'll write it down like this, number of students. Now it's going to be, it's still number of students. Number of students. Yesterday, we said number of students in grade 11, but we can't say that anymore because there's 2 classes. So I'm just going to say number of students, right? Because regardless of what class you're in, you're still called students. So that one's good. Over here, are my sports the same? My sports from yesterday are absolutely the same. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that the same. And then let's review just the spacings, right? We want to keep it neat. So let me write this down first. So favorite sports. And again, like I said yesterday, you can say types of sports or sports at school or something, but representing sports. Again, I'm going to leave 1 space just because we like space to leave. I'm going to leave that 1 space. Now, and I'm going to, you know what? Actually, I'm going to come back to this right at the, no, actually, let's do it now. Yeah. So let's do the 3. Actually, let's do 2 this time. I'm going to do 2. So follow along, please watch with me because it's going to get messy if you're not. So leave 1 space, okay? So leave 1 space, and I want you to do 2. Not 3 this time, I want you to do 2, okay? And this is a trick, if you, and Miss Mavish, and I write really small, and I know my writing's not going to fit there, you can always write this way. So here's a little trick. You can always write this way too, as long as it's neat. Swimming. Okay, you can write that way. Then I'm going to leave maybe 2 spaces and use 2 again. So I'm doing these ticks to help me. Okay, so I left 1 space, and then this is going to be swimming. I've left 2 space, and this is going to be football. I've left 2 space. This is going to be badminton. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, badminton. I've left 2 space, and this is going to be hockey. Okay. The reason I've changed up the spacing, because you're probably thinking, well, yesterday we did 3, now we're doing 2. That's okay, right? It's up to you as long as it's spaced out. If you have enough space to do 3, do 3. I just wanted to keep it 2 because even number is good for double bar graphs. Okay. There we go. We've got our 2 headings. Here we're not quite done, right? We always have 2. We've got 1. We're missing the 3rd part, so the scale. Now, same thing as yesterday. What would be a good scale for this? Again, look at your lowest number. So what is my lowest number of students? 2, right? 2 is the smallest. What is my largest number of students? Again, it's 12. So I need to make sure that within this, And we know always we start with 0, so I'm gonna immediately write 0. I have to at least go from somewhere has to be 2 to 12. So it's the same as yesterday. And because we did the intervals of 2, we'll just keep the same today. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and I always like to go one more just in case. I don't know why. That's just a habit of mine. It's just nice to have one more. Instead of just stopping at 12, it's always nice to have one more interval after. Okay, perfect. We're done setting up our stage, setting up our graph. Now we can actually start graphing, and this is a very, very important part. So I want you to grab your pencils. Don't do this with, don't get your pencil crayons out yet. Okay, now there's 2 sets of information, right? And that's where the double bar graph part comes in. Okay, so for every sport, there are 2 numbers I'm graphing, right? There's going to be 2 bars. So for swimming, for grade 11, it's 4. And then for grade 12, it's 8. So what's going to happen is, so let me go to my swimming section. So let's do grade 11 first. Grade 11 only has 4. So let me just draw them. I'm doing it with a pencil now. I'm not doing any with coloring yet, just to show you. So swimming. Now, if this is my whole swimming section, and this is why I said I want an even number. I have 1, 2 boxes. That means one of this, so 1 is going to be for grade 11. 1 is going to be for grade 12. They're going to be right next to each other. Let me show you what that looks like. So swimming for grade 11 is 4. So I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to put it on 4, right? I'm going to go on to swimming on the left one and then draw. Okay. So that's the bar for swimming for grade 11. Okay, don't color it yet just yet. I want to go step by step. And then let's do 8 right next to it for grade 12. So where do I see 8? Okay, 8 is right there. Right next to it, we've got grade 12s. Okay, and now this is where the legend comes in. Do you remember we were discussing the legend? We need to have a legend. Now, for grade 11, maybe I want to, and let me get a highlighter. Let me get pink, and let me get yellow. Okay, I'm gonna make a legend over here, and I'll write that here, legend. Now, a legend is usually, you're probably wondering, like, what's a good place for the legend? The legend always has to be within the data, right? My legend isn't going to be up over here. My legend isn't going to be on this side, right? The best place is to be kind of in the center somewhere, okay? So I'm just putting it sort of like right here. This is usually a nice space, right? You can put it sort of in the corner here too, but this is usually a good space. So the legend, so I'm gonna say that every time you see a pink, anything that's colored in pink, my pink represents, pink represents grade 11. And then anytime you see yellow, so anywhere in the graph that you see yellow, that is grade 12. Grade 12. Okay? That's the difference. So now let's color this. So my 4 was for grade 11. So this needs to be colored pink. So I'm going to color this pink. Okay. And then the other bar next to it is 8 is for grade 12. So that needs to be yellow. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and discuss this for a moment before we move on. So what just happened? We have one sport, right? Just one sport, but it's representing 2 data points. It's explaining to us. So this tells me that, okay, whatever's pink, grade 11, there was 4 grade 11 students that like swimming. And then the yellow, which is, grade 12s, 8 grade 12 students like swimming. So right away, what is one finding? For one finding already, you can say there's more grade 12s like swimming than grade 11s, right? That's the purpose of a double bar graph. There's 2 bars right next to each other. They're not spaced out. They're the same right next to each other for the one category to be able to compare. Because right away, so forget the numbers, right away, just visually you can see grade 12s, this yellow thing, which is grade 12, is much more favorable for swimming. Okay, let's try that for the next one. So let's keep going. Football. So let's do grade 11 first. And always get your pencil out. So football, there's 12 students. So again, that's why I did 2, right? If you did 3, you could just split it in half. So it'll be 1 1/2, 1 1/2. But so football, I need to go to 12 for one of the bars. And this is where you need to be mindful. So use your pencil, right? This is my 2. So just use where I need to write. Okay, this is my bar. So 12 for the grade 11s. Because my first one is always grade 11s. And that's another point. Don't start switching it. Don't start doing grade 12 first and then grade 11. And then keep it consistent. 11, then 12. 11, then 12. 11, then 12. Okay? So that was 11. 12 is 9. So where is 9? So yesterday we discussed that. If there's no 9 in the scale written down, it's still in there. So 9 we know is obviously comes after 8, but comes before before 10. So it's right there, right? That's 9 over there. So right next to it, I'm going to draw that little tick. And then, oops. Try to make it dark for you guys. Okay, there we go. So I've got 11, and this is where you have to be really careful with you. Don't grab the wrong marker. So grade 11 is pink, so that's my first one. Okay, and grade 12 is my second one. And earlier, like I was saying, I don't want you to switch, right? Don't go, because this is 11, 12, 11, 12. Don't switch all of a sudden in the middle. Don't say 11, 12, 12, 11, 12, 11, 11, 12. No, it has to be the same. Remember that. Bar graphs are very particular. So 11, 12, space. 11, 12, space, and then we're going to keep going. We're almost done. Badminton for grade 11 was 6. Okay, so badminton for grade 11 was 6. So I'm going to go to my 6. Okay, again, I know this is my badminton. I want the first one. So I just kind of follow along with my pencil. Draw that. There we go. And then badminton for grade 12 is 2. So very few people. 2. Okay, same thing. The first one is grade 11. So I'm going to color pink. Nearly done. And then grade 12 is the second one. Okay, and then again, space. Last one, hockey. 3 students, and remember the same as yesterday. 3 is obviously between 2 and 4, so 3 is over here. And you don't have to write it down. I'm just writing it down so you guys can see. 3, I have my hockey. I want the first one. Put a bar, and then hockey for grade 12 is 6. So I find 6 on the scale. And then, so if you've made your graph really neat, it'll be very easy to graph your data. If you've made it messy, if your scale is messy, if your axes are messy, it's going to make it difficult. That's why I took time, and that's why I'm doing it on literally a math notebook, so I can show you how specific everything needs to be. Okay, and there we go. And that is my double bar graph. Okay, now let's review before we finish off for today, okay? So remember, double bar graph, as soon as you see the word double bar, you know there's going to be double bars. There's going to be 2 bars together. And that is because you want to compare 2 information. So yesterday we only had 1 information. We just had grade 11, and that was it, which is fine. But today I want to look at 2 different categories, which was grade 11 and grade 12. Same sport, same grade 11 students, but I also went around and asked a grade 12 class. Then you go follow the 5 elements of a graph. My title, so the difference is now favorite sports in grade 11 and 12. And you'll notice that with titles, as you do more practice, there's always an and, right? Between boys and girls, in Canada and USA, in UAE, or in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, there's always a comparison. That's why there's always reference to 2. Your x-axis and your y-axis and your x-axis, same, right? You have to have 2 headings, a heading and then your scale. a heading and then 2 headings. And today we learned, you can go side to side. That's totally okay as long as it's neat, right? In regards to our x-axis, remember we want to leave even spaces. If I have 2 here, I should have 2 and 2 and that's it, rest, right? Keep it neat. It's not I left 2 spaces here and then I left 5 spaces here and then 1 space. It's very, very consistent, okay? And with double bar graphs, which is the new element today, which we had a legend, right? There's always 2 colors. You can do 2 colors or 2 patterns. Maybe one is going to be black, one is going to be clear. It's up to you. I just decided for pink and yellow. So one color represents one of the grades and another color represents the other grade. And then when you're going and plotting the data, you need to make sure that's the information. So make sure you don't color pink when it should be yellow. And it's always going the same, 11, 12, space, 11, 12, space, 11, 12, space, 11, 12. Okay? That's how you make double bar graphs. So today's work, so after you make sure you copy down all the notes, you're going to go into your math textbook, you're going to do a question. I've posted the question on your Edmodo, so go into your Edmodo folders. I think it's, let me just go grab it now. I can tell you what it is. It is, I wrote it down. Okay, your textbook question, and I'll write it down over here, is page, and it's just 1. I just want you to get practice. 268, number 1. Okay, I want you to learn how to make a double bar graph. So it will give you information and just do the same thing as we did, right? Have all the different parts, have a legend, have the 2 bars. So page 268, number 1. Please complete that today. Okay, if you have any questions, please message me and then I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Bye.